podcast with your host, the Fifth General.
And Zaccheus.
And Cinemascapes.
All right. Episode 2. We're going to get into part 3 of Hip Hop for Sale.
Oh, yeah.
Last week was an interesting episode. It was our premiere. It was a continuation originally from the Mrs. Z and Fifth podcast, episode 10, Hip Hop for Sale, part 1. Before we get into the topic, what we want to do is kind of briefly go over what happened over the weekend. We're not so much of a current events type of show, but, I mean, we just can't ignore this.
Right.
So, Zaccheus, I'm going to let you have the floor.
Well, this weekend we heard some disturbing news that Philando Castile, the cop was let loose, acquitted of all charges, which I thought, because the way how he was shot and the footage that they've seen was point blank, looked like it's just murder, because here is it that this man was sitting in the car. And the officer told him to reach for his IDs, right?
His license.
Yeah, to reach for his IDs, and his lady was sitting right next to him on the passenger side, and the little girl was sitting behind the car. Her daughter that was sitting in the rear passenger seat of the vehicle. So for him to pump bullets in him, I couldn't even fathom why he did that, because according to the story, Philando Castile said he was armed. He's licensed to be armed. So to make a long story short, the officer asked for his ID. Of course, when an officer pulls you over, they ask you for your ID. Pulls you over in a vehicle, they ask you for your ID. So he asked for his ID. So he went for his ID, and the officer got nervous and sprayed. So
he shot him 4 times.
4 times, yeah. It's crazy, man.
Shoulders, chest.
And 7 bullets were discharged from the gun.
Yeah, 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, and one of the situations with that is his girlfriend had filmed it on Facebook Live as far as the aftermath. As far as what was going on. Yeah. The officer did not bring any aid to Philando as he was bleeding to death. And the only reason why he told the officer he had a gun is because he was reaching for his license, and if he would have saw the gun anyway. So his whole thing is he was telling the officer, "I am licensed." Philando Castile's background is that he worked at a school. He was at an elementary school. He was a cook. I mean, this is somebody who has been paperwork and documentation has been ran on this guy to safely work in a school. So he doesn't have a violent crime history or anything, not even nowhere near it. Also, it showed that he had been harassed by the cops several times. He lived in a suburb outside of Milwaukee. In this suburb, the research has been found that police have been called on blacks at alarming times.
Wow.
So this is a particular neighborhood that is not too fond of us, and let's just say not welcome if you're getting the cops calling on you just for being there and you live there.
Pretty much.
So basically, you have a situation where his girlfriend in the car corrected a cop. The cop says, "I told him not to reach for it." He sounded like a raging maniac the way he was talking.
Yeah, you heard the footage, yeah.
And what you hear is her saying, "No, you told him to reach for his ID." And it's disgusting. His daughter was right there. Cop could have killed the daughter and the girlfriend.
And the girl,
killed
yes,
everybody.
yes.
And I think it took less than 20 minutes for them to decide a guilty or a non-guilty verdict. That's quick.
That's too fast. Very fast.
So
it's a continuing saga, and unless you see with us, unless some white people start getting shoot that way, then they'll start speaking them and say, "No, cops are wrong," and let's jail them. But until then, it's been going on. It's consistently going on, and as you can see, the protest is a lot of people protesting it, and you see who's protesting it, because not just our faces are fed up, but as you can see, others are fed up. See what's going on, see the injustice, and see what's going on, and see that it's unfair. You know.
Go ahead, Cinema.
You know, Ice Cube made a song, "Who Got the Camera?" Rodney King, and the resolution of the song was, "It doesn't matter if you have a camera." And now when you see other people protesting, they know something's coming. It's like the progression when people didn't care about drugs, and then drugs eventually leak to their neighborhood. This behavior is going to leak to their neighborhood, and it's already started in certain cities. It doesn't matter what color you are, you're getting thrown around by the police. And there's video all over the internet showing that.
Martial law.
But you know, now, you know, it's starting to resonate with people because something you could see so clearly. And it's like, it's the twist. And that's the whole fake news vibe. You're going to tell me what I saw with my eyes, and then tell me it's not real and say it's fake. That, you know, that's a whole nother issue. But, you know, just hitting on that, though, those themes keep coming back up, you know, and those are the themes we deal with, you know, as black men, you live a certain way. And really, a lot of times you avoid conflict because the whole goal is to get home.
Exactly.
Yeah. Remember we were talking about that just to survive.
We were just talking, me and Zaccheus were just talking about that before we started the show, that the difference between black folks and white folks, or just non-black, not including Latino, because it's kind of the same with us, that their whole goal is, our whole goal is, anybody else, their whole goal is to not get a ticket or not get arrested. Our whole goal is get home.
Right.
You know, so this is why we have to comply even more extra than anybody else on this planet when it comes to being pulled over by police. And you're right about the camera not mattering, because here we've seen footage of practically a drive-by happen on Tamir Rice for a cap gun. And he was a 12-year-old boy. We had Everett Garner get choked out on camera. That's camera.
We got Sandra Bland, you know. Yeah,
we got Sandra Bland on edited footage, really, with her situation. Footage edited. You could tell because on the left side of the screen, you see cars driving, and all of a sudden the car is
gone.
It's gone. So that's your time skipping with the editing the footage with the time, and then the time is changing on the actual dash cam. So people are not paying attention to that. But you have plenty of situations like that that's been happening. I think what people need to understand, especially our people, is that it's not so much that it's just now out of control. It's always been out of control. It's just that social media is now the new news. So we're able to have access to things before the actual news channels report it. A lot of times, because of the footage that we obtain as civilians, we'll force the news to actually talk about it because it already broke the internet.
Right.
So you have that situation. So it's sad. Father's Day just passed, and this is what happens.
It's just
it's sad. So I just want to say, God bless Castile's family.
Yes.
May peace be upon them. May God be with you.
Yes.
You know, that's really all I could say. I guess another thing we'll get to real quick. If anybody has anything else to say about it, we'll move on to Bill Cosby real quick.
Oh yeah, I mean,
y'all okay with moving on or next?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna move on.
So Bill Cosby, it was declared a mistrial. Let's just say this: we had remember our episode 2.
Episode 2.
No, it was actually episode 3 of Mr. C and Fifth, the rise and fall of Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
rise and fall of Bill Cosby. Yeah,
and I mentioned, where were all the women that had came forward on Dr. Phil's show and any other show? Where were they when this actual trial happened? I didn't see any of them testify anything.
Yeah.
So you had this woman who I've never even seen before until the actual trial.
Is it that white lady with the curly hair?
Yeah, I
haven't seen her.
Honestly,
she just appeared out of nowhere.
I don't even know her name.
Yeah, I don't know her name. She just appeared out. I'm like, who's this?
Yeah,
But basically, if you lived in the Philly area, this was a case. The last DA said, they had this subpoena and stuff, and they didn't charge anything on it. And so she didn't come out with the other 50. So locally, it was covered over here because I live,
Yeah, you live
I live in
the
I live right North Delaware.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for those who don't know, Cinema joins us on Skype. This is how we're able to do the show.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now go ahead,
so
Cinema.
I live in right outside of Wilmington, but I really live in Newark.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So, I'm closer to the Maryland line, but I have Philadelphia news, sports, everything. And so this guy said if he got elected, he was trying Bill Cosby, and he's been on a witch hunt, and he's already talking retrial. And, that's what we're getting locally. And that's all, that's what I see locally. I see a lot of this because this breaks in anything with Bill Cosby being from Philly. It's, really hot news for this area. And so this guy, the last DA didn't want to try him, and this new DA wanted to try him. It was a mistrial. The jury was deadlocked. And so on all 3 counts. And that's why it's a mistrial. And the guy's immediately working on trying him again. And they have the date of filing. He has 120 days. And so that's what's going on with him. And so it's like something's going on here. I'm not, I'm not going to speculate without facts, but there's something else involved here that keeps pushing this when kind of everybody was kind of past it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And you had people out there supporting them, people out there against them. You had some of the people out there, but, some of the alleged victims. So, the man hasn't been found guilty or innocent yet. So it is what it is at this time.
Yeah. I heard they're going to retry the case in October. I'm like, okay, it's this ongoing saga, man. They just trying to,
Yeah, but they got to go
different from OJ.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with OJ. They try to do, if you can't try him again, then you just sue him and try to get money from him. I mean, that's basically what they're doing with Bill. Bill is basically today's, just the way he's being treated. He's basically like today's OJ Simpson as far as the way they're treating him.
They're treating him, yeah.
And notice these people already got money from him. So why are we doing a civil court case?
Public humiliation.
Reputation,
all that stuff. Yeah.
Everyone knows he has the money to buy a network. He wanted to buy a network. Then all of a sudden, this comes out of anywhere. Most people found out a lot of these women were employed by a certain network, which I'm not going to say because we're not getting in trouble.
Okay.
I want to say it so bad, but I won't. Let's just put it like this. They were on Dr. Phil's show for a reason. You figure out what that network is.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway.
Exactly.
But anyway, so let's get into something else. Zaccheus saw the Tupac movie. Since we're talking about hip-hop for sale and we're talking about hip-hop period, this would be a good thing about it. So what was your take on the movie?
I think it was well put together. Demetrius Shipp is his name. The actor that acted as Tupac. Big up to him. And Hell Harper, I was surprised to see him in it too. He was in it, and a few stars was in it, and then the woman that played Jada Pinkett. I can see now. I never knew that Jada Pinkett was so close to Tupac like that.
Very close.
And they showed and they showed them very clear, really good friendship. Like a really close, even before he started.
Let's kind of explain how they were close. Jada's from Baltimore. Tupac lived in Baltimore
for a while, yeah.
Right. His mother had moved him to because Tupac's originally from Harlem, right?
From Harlem, right. He's born in Harlem.
He's born in Harlem.
1971.
He moved to Baltimore when he was what, 16, 17?
17, yeah.
Did the movie say his age?
No, they didn't show it. They didn't say his age, but they showed the years.
Okay.
They showed the years. They showed 1971 when his mom. I don't want to tell all the movie. When Mrs. Fafina Shakur, was part of the Panthers.
Rest in peace.
Rest in R.I.P. She was part of the Panthers, and then Tupac had a stepfather that was also very active in the Panthers. Yeah. And it just showed that the whole, in the beginning, how they CIA and the police infiltrated the Panthers, and he was and you'll see a footage there. I'm not gonna say the whole story, but you'll see a footage there where they're having a family moment, a Christmas Day family moment, and the police just barged right in and just arrested and took down and had her on her knees, Mrs. Shakur on the knees with handcuffs around her, and Tupac witnessing all this as a young child with his baby sister. It's crazy, but yeah, went through a lot. This movie, it just shows the different. It just shows the beginning, his whole life story, but in the beginning it shows. I like it because it shows how he was in prison at a certain time of his life. And then Hal Harpo, as a reporter, he having an interview in the prison because Tupac was incarcerated a few times already during his lifetime, and it just shows a great. People compared it to Straight Outta Compton, and they say, of course they would say Compton. Well, yeah, I have to admit Compton. Straight Outta Compton was a little better than that, but this was basically on Tupac Shakur himself only, his life, how he felt, how his music, because throughout the whole movie, it played his music, all his hits. It played all his hits throughout the whole music, which I thought that was great. I thought that was unique. I love when movies do that, and it showed the different years as time went on, as it depict different years. What hit he came up with one year, I Get Around, a few joints that he came up with. Trapped was one of his hits, and Brenda,
Conscious Side.
Yeah, the Conscious Side he came up with.
Brenda had a baby.
And we talking about hip hop today. How also. That even the Interscope Records did not want to push that song, Brenda Had a Baby. They thought it was too the message was too strong. They thought they was not gonna sign them because of that song, because they said, listen, we're gonna support everything. We cannot push Brenda Had a Baby. We cannot push that song. That song it's depressing for hip hop. It depicts a young girl getting pregnant and then on the streets. And then having a baby on the floor, we can't push that song. And he fought. They said, "Listen, this is real life." There's one thing with Tupac. He stood in the movie. It showed him he stood up for his music. He did not compromise. He said, "Listen, this is my music, and you're gonna play. This is it. I don't gotta sign with you. I'll go somewhere else. This is my music. This is goes on in the street. I'm just telling you the ghetto message, what goes on in the hood every day. You live in a picket fence. Y'all don't understand what goes on, but this is what goes on, and this is our life. And this is what goes on in the streets. So I thought it was a good film. I thought it was something that people should not just let's take out of people's word, but just go and see. Go see it for yourself. And it's a good film.
Cinema, you got any questions about the movie, real quick?
I'm gonna go see it. And a lot of it is people didn't like the way they were depicted and things.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
But I know this much. It's like, it's a biopic. Mm-hmm. Everything's not going to be perfect.
Right.
And then he's not here like Ray Charles was to make sure everything was factual. So we're just getting from multiple sources. I think all these movies are good for hip hop because it archives it. And now, and I was having a conversation with my sister, and I'm saying, if you want to archive something, you put it in music or film, then it'll be remembered. Mm-hmm. And so this, for a lot of people who understand what artists had to do and how it wasn't how doing hip hop wasn't a guaranteed road or road of success, and what they had to do, and how when we started messing with labels, we had to fight tooth and nail to put out what we want and still do. Right. Mm-hmm. It's really good. I just want to, yeah. Jada was upset, and a few other people were upset, but I haven't seen the film.
John Singleton was supposed to work on the movie with them, but that didn't happen. There was some situations between him, Benny Boom, and who's the other brother who worked on the movie? What's his name? There's another. I'm forgetting the name. I'm terrible, but
I mean the one that is it not the one that created the Butler, right? No, not him.
No, heck no. No, but you know, John Singleton wasn't involved with the movie like that. He was supposed to be, but he wasn't. But there's some stories behind that.
Then he's busy now, and then he got a lot of other projects going too. So
right,
you know,
right.
A lot of things are speculation, but even on a movie, people are off and on. Look at Justice League. Zach had to step away, so Joss Whedon's doing reshoots and stuff. They've just changed the guy who's doing the score. You know, these things happen on movies all the time. So, so what media wants to do is play it up with controversy, so people don't want to go see it.
Right.
But I'm going to see it.
I think the straight out of so there's not a lot of Hollywood, I guess you can call Hollywood budget, hip hop biopics, right? There's a few.
Right.
I would say I can only bring these up. Out of Notori, I haven't seen All Eyes on Me, but so far the general consensus is that Straight Outta Compton is the best. That should lead to 2 movies I think that should be done. A Dr. Dre movie and an Ice Cube movie. Even if you don't do the Death Row movie, but if you do an Ice Cube movie and a Dr. Dre movie, they should, and then use the same actors, of course, for an Ice Cube movie. You got to have Cube's son. I'm sure Ice Cube's going to make that happen.
Yo.
So I think that should happen. Because N.W.A. was a great movie, but it really put a lot on Eazy-E. So I think we should have an Ice Cube movie solo and a Dr. Dre solo movie.
But you know, since Ice Cube, you know, had made up with Eazy, and then Dre and them had beef toward the end, Cube and them wanted to do that. They didn't even want it to be on them. They wanted Eazy's story to be told, because a lot of people were lying about Eazy's story.
True.
And, you know, and the bottom line is, at the end, it was, you know, anything between them was business.
Yes.
And we know the odd man out.
What should be? So who do you think deserves a hip hop biopic?
I wish we could just do an old school one where we just do Rakim, Big Daddy, and all of them and what was going on in that era.
Big Daddy Kane?
You think you should do a Juice Crew movie?
I heard that's being looked at. Roxanne Shantae movies being looked at too. It's interesting that you mentioned Juice.
You think
if I pick anybody, it'd be KRS.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
Let's do this. Top 5 artists. I'll name mine. That includes group too. So if you use a group, that counts. That you can think of right now, solo or rap group.
Straight out of Golden Era, right?
No, don't have to be Golden Era.
Oh, okay.
Just 5.
Just 5. Just 5 artists or groups. Who do you think? Zaccheus, I'll let you start that. Who do you think should have the next biopics? Just name your 5. They don't have to be in that order.
I'm gonna go with Wu-Tang.
Okay, so Wu. All right.
Yeah, and I'll also go with I'll say Wu-Tang first. I'll also go with let me see. You know who will do very well with this? KRS-One. He's know KRS-One. I'll do.
Very interesting story.
Yeah, and I also do I would know what I would do. I would do a Salt and Pepper.
Okay, so you got 3 so far.
I do Salt and Pepper. And I'll let me see. After Salt and Pepper, I'll possibly do somebody that's the seat. Let me see. I'll probably do like a not Trouble T. Roy. Let me see. Like a Trouble T. Roy. Like Trouble T. Roy from the group
Heavy D and
the Boys. Yeah, and you know what, Heavy D. Yeah, you know what, Heavy D. I'll do too. Heavy D.
I would probably include them.
Yeah, both. Yeah, Heavy D and the Boy and Trouble T. Roy. Trouble T. Roy.
You could just do a whole boys thing.
Yeah, you could do all of that. So that's 4 so far.
So 4 so far, and the 5th one. shoot, I would do a You know what? I would actually do. Let me see. It's weird, but I would do a special ed.
Okay.
Yeah, I would do a special ed. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know his story.
No, I'll do a special ed.
Cinema, what's your 5 that you could think of?
See, yeah, and I'm also thinking stories making good movies.
Yeah.
KRS, definitely.
Yep.
Definitely. That would be a ridiculous story because you'll get the whole Scott LaRock story in there.
The whole BDP, all of that.
Yeah.
I would want to do one on Primo. And out of a group, just his production life, you get Gangstar, him working.
Yeah.
There's so many moments in hip hop.
Being
and
that
so many people you'll get to see.
Premiere. Oh wow.
Being that guru pass, that's important.
That's important. Yeah.
Right.
Gangstar,
but I just don't want to. I just don't want to stop at Gangstar. I want Primo's
you want it to continue.
whole life.
Yeah.
Whole life. Yeah.
Primo is a thread that has been consistent in hip hop, and that would be a great watch and a great education because people do not even know. They don't even know about him producing like mainstream albums, and there's a lot about Primo people don't know.
Right.
It's true.
Then you'll get that little thing when Nas's single was over. You get a lot of those stories.
Yeah, you get a lot of. There's a lot of sub stories.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
Okay, so I'm up to 3.
Yeah.
I would do Common, but that's a personal. You know why?
Yeah.
Common has an interesting story.
Yeah.
Y'all know. Listeners, you're not familiar with me. Common, when I was going to audio school, this dude came out. He was homeless too, and he what do you do when you got no food? Boogity bust a rap.
Yeah.
Check out Can I Borrow $1? That album changed my life. And then he came over Resurrection after. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was that was a dude that changed my consciousness. Instead of being just stupid,
All right.
But interesting story. His legal battle documented. Then you'll get some of your boy up in there, Jay, because he worked with him.
Kanye?
No, Cannabis.
Oh, Cannabis.
Oh, Cannabis. Yeah.
Hold on, you want a Cannabis movie?
No, I said Common movie.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Common.
Okay.
You'll get some of that in there. Because remember who he was rolling with.
Okay.
But Common's another thread through hip hop. You'll get some Roots in there. That was my next one. The Roots.
Okay. That's your 4.
That's 4.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. And then one person people wouldn't even expect this from me. But I would love a DJ Quick movie because that would show you so much history because his thread.
He's from Oakland, right? Yeah.
Nah, that is interesting.
And I bought everything he's done. I mean,
Yeah.
When you come out over there, because you got interacting with Souls of Mischief and a bunch of all those people over there. DJ Quick would be a good story because. N.W.A.'s been done. M's been done. A few of them, they've been done.
Yeah, that would be good.
And so, those would be my 5 right now. Like
my 5 I could think of Wu-Tang.
Yeah,
definitely. KRS-One, I agree with that. LL Cool J.
Oh yeah, he has a history.
How did I forget LL?
Oh my gosh, he has history.
We need a LL Cool J movie.
That would be great because he's been in a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need a.
Then your boy would be in that again too.
We need a LL word, a Cannabis featurette. We definitely need an LL Cool J movie. My list is going to be a little different, being that you guys already named who you named.
Right.
So I'm going to say Queen Latifah.
Okay, Flavor Unit. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah, Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah.
But Latifah's story is really interesting.
Her story's still going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what do you stop at with her? It's kind of hard to really stop.
You make a current and a to be continued.
That's true.
Like they do on the Inside the Actors studio. The next time somebody comes back, they pick up.
Yeah, you would have to do it like that.
Yeah.
So who did I say? I said Wu-Tang, LL, KRS-One, Queen Latifah. So my fifth would be. This is rough.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, fifth is hard. I'm gonna say there should be. Wow. Ooh. Okay.
Because you got to leave people off. I know.
Yeah, I would have to leave somebody off. I'm gonna say for the fifth one. I'm gonna go ahead and say there should be a Nas movie.
Yes.
Yes, Nas.
And I think
Major Look.
And I think I've been hearing that somebody has been trying to get the rights on doing Nas movie. I think I don't know if it's for movie theaters or Netflix, but a Nas movie would be really interesting.
Yes.
Right.
Whose word?
At the end of the show, we'll do honorable mentions because we got to move on to the topic.
Yeah.
So back to Hip Hop for Sale. We were talking about leaving out of the crunk era and getting more further up in the actual eras. Yeah. So, Zaccheus, you said that around that time you had to be from the South.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like you had to be. Let me just say this real quick. This is no disrespect to no coast or region. I just want people, because I think people might get the wrong idea. We're not criticizing the South. We're just talking about the industry and the role that it plays in signing artists and putting out artists. And it is a fact that around that time, and you would say probably still at this time, that they were looking for more of the down south time. But I would say, to respect to the South, I think the reason why the industry did this is because the South supports their artists way better than New York does and the West Coast.
Hello.
So this is no disrespect. Look, we're all from New York,
and,
okay? Yeah, go ahead.
And when my brother went to school in Florida and then stayed with my aunt in Louisiana, he bought some heat from the South that I still listen to. So, I'm not going to put everybody in a basket. Out of every era, I've got an artist that I listen to that I like.
Yes.
But, and that's real talk. We're just talking the whole scape of the entire, how the industry affects it. We're not even talking about artistry. Right. And we're just talking about the approach and the mentality. And, basically,
yeah, man,
the mentality is what hurt it. I don't care about you expressing yourself, but when you start getting into the business stuff and it starts hurting commerce, right, and because the industry is going to jump on something and then they neglect something. When you're hot, you can get a job. When you're not hot, no one's touching you in an industry.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the bottom line. I could tell you story after story.
Well,
we'll get into that in a minute.
The industry is about a wave,
right?
A hype machine. They're not really into substance. Now, remember, I said on this episode, I want to get more into the content changing. We're gonna get let's kind of get some of the errors out of the way so we could actually get to the meat of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you had the crunk era kind of shift. Then you had what you would call, you had the MySpace, social media, artist kind of timing era where you had artists like Sean Kingston and Soulja Boy getting record deals just based on being viral on the internet.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is no disrespect to them artists, but you have a lot of artists who were being signed that way. They were getting their shine before artists who actually deserved it, who actually paid dues. And then you had those who didn't pay dues at all, and they were given the world. But here's what I noticed about a lot of those artists in that group. I mean, you could even put Tila Tequila in that one. Is that you had artists who were who were good for a moment, And then the record label said, you know what? They're not even really all that. You know, I'm not naming an artist specifically when I say this. I'm just saying, like, there were people who were coming out. And then they realized they didn't have the talent. They just had a good song.
Right.
That's all they had. So then what happened? They moved on from them. And then that changed the way industry signed you. Because when that happened, now this is what the industry does today. Because we're in the trap era as of right now. You know, year 2017. We're kind of like in this trap music era. So you have a lot of record labels that won't even sign you unless you have a huge following on the internet.
Right.
That's what the industry is doing now. The industry used to have an A&R, go to concert,
I remember
or
that
neighborhood,
time, yeah.
whatever it was, find some talent and groom them.
Yes.
Record labels don't have that time no more.
Yes.
Also, they don't have that resource because digital music changed the game. And basically, they used to develop artists, and they got lazy. And basically, you don't even get paid for the work you did to build that audience.
Right.
And that's another subject. So basically, that era, the MySpace era, changed everything. You had music instantly. And then the MySpace era is connected with the YouTube era because when MySpace fell, Facebook didn't support the music, so we went to YouTube. And some of y'all listening to this podcast on YouTube.
On YouTube, exactly. You had
exactly.
You had MySpace. And so, you had let's not forget. Let's also not forget. I don't mean to cut you off. We had Reverb Nation.
Oh yeah,
but nobody's even checking Reverb Nation no more.
You serious?
Yeah, because
Reverb Nation is artists and artists. Yeah,
because SoundCloud trumped that. Now, now, if somebody wants to hear your music now, they're going to your SoundCloud now. They used to go to MySpace, and then after MySpace, you had Reverb Nation. And now people are going to your SoundCloud.
How popular is Reverb Nation right now?
Not as popular as what it was back in what? Shoot, we almost
2011, right?
For that. Cinema. When was Reverb Nation? When did Reverb Nation lose its popularity?
08? I forgot because remember
08, 09?
We were trying to sign up for it, and I forgot I even had a account on it. It's like you have an account. That's how much. That's how much Reverb Nation fell off. It was around the MySpace. Same here. And so it was around the MySpace era. I can't even point the year because now it seems like Reverb Nation, like every once in a while I'll go update my Reverb Nation just, because artists look there. And then they have the things for the artists to get showcases and shows. It's turned more into an artist site like MySpace has.
Yeah.
And so MySpace, you're not dealing with people looking for music no more. You're dealing with other artists, and it's really just a networking place. And a lot of people don't use it like they used to. You see a lot of people, you'll drop them something on Reverb Nation. You're like, just come hit me up on Facebook because I'll get a message there first. But it just became that what happened, what killed Reverb Nation was when Steve Jobs announced iTunes.
Oh.
Some would say that messed up hip hop. Or just Nation? The music industry. No, iTunes.
No.
That's another argument.
But that's what also made independence from the industry. And that was the problem because he wanted to do something and labels weren't up on it. So when iTunes launched, all the independent artists put their stuff on there. You still see that on Apple Music. Apple Music has the independents or like the one person label. Like, Justin Timberlake's label is him and Timberland, so they're going to get that, they make the deals with Drake and them people where they could reach the head of their labels, Gaga was on a label like that before it got sold. Bieber was on a label like that his first time out. And so it made it easier to access. Taylor stood up because Taylor's is on a regular label. you know? And basically she stood up for what her label wanted, you know? And so that, you know, Apple settled with her. I don't even know if she ever even put her music back on Spotify, because Apple Music pays better royalties.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Spotify, you know, it's like other companies like Spotify are in trouble this year.
They are?
Because they're not generating money and they're not paying artists money. So who's supporting that? A lot of people are using them for the subscription, but they got to advertise, they got to do things. But Apple Music has taken a chunk of it. I have family members with Apple Music. They can pull up anything for me. Anything that's in iTunes is on Apple Music for $9.99 a month.
Yo, Reverb Nation is charging people $9 now.
What? I didn't even know that.
because they aren't making any money anymore. Because with the Apple Music and the streams, now streams are becoming profitable with the Apple Music system, even though before, when iTunes came, it changed the game. So, you know, people are making money with streams. So we're in a transition period where people are learning the new commerce, and there's a lot of opportunity. If you can just get people listening to you, you can generate money, but they have to be listening to you on the right thing.
On the right thing. That's the key thing. Mm-hmm.
Well, you okay.
But let's go back to where we were. Right. iTunes comes, Reverb Nation starts dying. But but when these things happen, nobody realizes it. And then, you know, the charts. I'm number one in this area. I'm number this overall. And then you had a lot of knockoffs like Reverb Nation that I was on that just, you know, 2-3 years later, they just all disappeared or got swallowed up.
The community shifted though, because when the community MySpace was community based. The community left MySpace. That's why MySpace fell. Because even if you have all the technology and the access and the things that are good for everybody, when the community leaves you, the support leaves too. So that community ended up going to Facebook. And like you said, with Reverb Nation, the community left Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation used to be busy. Reverb Nation doesn't benefit artists like it once did. So the community went to SoundCloud. But SoundCloud used to be another company. Wasn't SoundCloud SoundClick?
Nah, they both existed.
Okay.
It was a spinoff. Now SoundClick totally, I might exist, but I don't know. I haven't signed into my SoundClick in forever. I forget about that.
Yeah.
SoundCloud isn't based over here. So you were able to put music up. You were able to put covers up. You were personally responsible. What happened was Reverb Nation and all these other sites, because of copyright and stuff, started restricting what you can put up. If you weren't putting up original music, you couldn't put up covers. You couldn't, you know.
Yeah, SoundCloud. I noticed that with SoundCloud. SoundCloud wants everything strictly original.
Now,
but
that's changed. But before, it was like a DJ utopia that musicians started using, where you would get like a hot remix, and then the hot remix would be up on SoundCloud.
Oh, Zaccheus, you got something?
Yeah. I thank God for SoundCloud, because SoundCloud was able to it sometimes gets you recognition for certain things.
Yeah.
Compared to the others like Reverb Nation, nobody's checking that really. But
exactly.
Yeah, but SoundCloud is able to get you some pull, and with this day and age where people are doing more independent stuff, they're not really dealing with record labels too much anymore. SoundCloud is like a vehicle that will help a little bit more. You know, it's, you know, because these record labels now, they just
SoundCloud has a huge community.
Yes, and I noticed that. And
seamless audio. I have to say that usability is very good, so I can understand why they are where they are in audio and also in podcasting now.
Yes.
So I have to say, but it goes to my point is, wherever the community goes, that's where the creator goes too. Because if you are a content creator, you have to go where the community is. If YouTube dies today.
YouTube dies? Wow.
No, I'm just giving an example.
Yeah. Example.
If YouTube dies today, where does everybody go? They're going to have to go to the next wave.
Right.
That's
And
just
see,
how the
this
business is.
That's how the business is. Yeah.
And there was video before YouTube. MySpace video was YouTube because people were putting their video on MySpace. But then you used to be able to put videos and audio on MySpace. It was so ahead of its time, but it was mismanaged. And when the community felt like betrayed by it because it made some moves and didn't consider its community, the community left in a mess.
A major way. I remember. Yeah. Okay.
Hold on.
And then,
Cinema, go ahead. Zaccheus, you got next.
Okay.
And so when you have a mass exodus and then you have everybody ended up at SoundCloud's where I found international music, and that wet my palate. And then I started doing research.
There you go.
And because that's how it was. Because MySpace was more American people, completely. And I met a lot of people on MySpace. People I'm still in contact with. But when the community moves, it moves. When it's like when digital music, going back to that, when digital music changed everything, you weren't buying CDs. Basically, you didn't have to pay for manufacturing costs and stuff. So digital music's cheaper than buying a CD. Still is. Because you have to put so much into development of the CDs. Paper, plastic, physical copies. Once digital did that, the hip hop community took a hit because what do we like? We like our artwork. We like our thing. It was part of the culture. And then before the digi-art, you didn't have that. You just had an album and then you just saw the cover. And it was weird. But then you didn't have your cloud yet. So if you lost your music or your computer crashed, you lost everything you bought back in the days.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And so that's why it didn't overcome. What really made iTunes better was Amazon. Because Amazon, that competition with Amazon Music made iTunes make a cloud. Because I have more stuff on Amazon still, even though I don't buy everything on Amazon, because my Amazon cloud, when I found out they had a cloud and they saved everything, my Amazon cloud is huge just on purchases. Then they give you extra cloud space to put your music up. So rare albums that aren't label music are in my cloud. All the J Dilla I have is in my cloud before they were selling it.
Yeah, man.
My De La Soul albums, which,
You still got that album? De La Soul?
I have all of De La Soul's albums.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
They're on hard drives, clouds, everywhere. And see, that's what digital music started making it easy. People can't steal your music no more. And then devices came. Apple started it knowing these devices were coming down the pipeline. Now you got people making albums on GarageBand on their phone. You're changing the culture before people realized you were changing the culture. Then they bought their biggest competition, which was Logic, and it was no longer on PC.
Zaccheus, you got to share something?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, man.
I just didn't want him to lose his point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good. What's the? I have one question. What's the highest social network right now as far as like music exposure right now?
As far as music exposure, that would be YouTube.
That's
and I'm not just saying that. That's according to Alexa.com as far as website traffic.
Okay.
So YouTube is the number one. Okay, here's the thing. Google is the number one search engine, but YouTube is the number 2 search engine, which Google owns when it comes to everything. So that includes music. Right. And then you have Facebook, which is the number 1 social
network. Right.
So, but then now if we're talking just music, like just music only, then you have to say SoundCloud, because SoundCloud is in that list.
Yes.
So, and this is all just according to website traffic. Now, if we're talking about buying digital music, okay, now that's Apple. That's iTunes.
iTunes, yeah.
And then after iTunes would be Amazon or Google Play, one of them.
One of them, yeah.
So, and they're both up there.
Spotify, as far as number 1, I think, or number 2 in streams.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yes. Spotify is stream dependent.
Right. And that's why when Apple Music launched, that was a big shot at them because they took a lot of their customers, a lot of their paid customers.
It was, but when it comes to...
But still, Spotify is still there because most people use it because they have Androids. Apple doesn't have a corner on the market, and everybody doesn't like dealing with Apple for things.
I would say in terms of urban marketing, it goes to Tidal.
Definitely.
Okay, Tidal. Yeah, when it comes to music, music specifically, I guess you would. I said urban marketing, but that's a term, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then it would be Tidal, because when it comes to marketing and promoting any music streaming service, Tidal will use. I think Tidal did really good with getting music from Prince and a couple of our artists who happen to be people of color. Also, Tidal is not just music; they also implemented video, and now they've implemented series. I noticed that what Jay-Z is doing with Tidal is he's trying to make it somewhat of a music / Netflix kind of service.
What?
Yeah, Tidal has a bright future.
Wow.
A bright future.
For movies too?
Yeah, because we have show deals and movie deals that Tidal has been making deals on that they can't even announce yet. They've somewhat announced. Irv Gotti had an interview on The Breakfast Club.
Mm-hmm.
For those who know Irv Gotti, Murder Inc. CEO, he discovered, he put guys on the map, including not just Ja Rule, but DMX and a couple artists.
Shanti.
Okay, he plays a role in that.
Yeah.
He made a deal with BET with a show called Tales. Tales spelled Tales. And his show, which is hip hop inspired, it's gonna use music. It's gonna use certain songs that had storytelling in it, and he's gonna make an actual story out of it with actors. It's gonna be an hour-based show, and each show is gonna have a different song. According to what he says, I got Notorious B.I.G's I Got a Story to Tell is gonna be episode 2. N.W.A.'s F the Police is gonna be episode 1. Great concept, right? He made a deal with Jay. Jay's going to show the uncut version on Tidal. You can only see it on Tidal.
Wow.
You can see the show on BET, but you can see those versions on Tidal. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because, not to really promote Tidal, but to explain what the future is for music streaming and what it's going to create. This is good for Tidal in this way, and good for artists. I'll give you an example. If we just talked about biopics, right? Did we?
Yes.
Say if, and I'll name this brother, say if Mos Def, right? Say if they go to Mos Def about a possible biopic on him, and he has all of his music there. Mos Def might have a better chance of negotiating with Tidal to get his stuff on Tidal before he could probably go to Hollywood. That is good for a content creative standpoint. Now, he doesn't necessarily have to go to Tidal. He could just go straight to YouTube and do his own thing. But Tidal is a machine that will get behind him personally. You could do things on YouTube, but the question is YouTube going to get behind you?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That's the big question.
And just like Apple Music is behind Drake. Anytime Drake's album was promoted, what logo did you see at the end of the commercial?
Apple.
Thank you. That's what's going on. So this is what's happening.
And Apple Music is taking that pattern. They're trying to do what Tidal's doing, but Tidal's saying hush. So, because Apple, you see them scrambling to try to do they're trying to do the concerts like Tidal had when they first came out. They're trying to emulate that, but they can't. Tidal has exclusive videos you can only see on Tidal.
Beyonce's, real quick, Zaccheus, I'm sorry. Beyonce's Lemonade is a great example.
Exactly.
Because it was exclusive. There are things that are exclusive to Tidal. Beyonce is Jay's wife. So, not surprised there that's the relationship between Beyonce and Tidal. Also,
And
Kanye. When Kanye
Right,
released The
'cause-
Life of Pablo, that came out on Tidal first. Any exclusivity with Tidal, that's here's where the competition is, where it's at as far as Apple Music subscription, Spotify, and Tidal. Is that okay? We're all gonna have this guy's album, but what are we gonna have different that's gonna make you sign on to us? That's where the exclusivity comes in.
Mhm.
Right, because you couldn't watch it for free.
Right.
You had to buy it off of Apple. But you could watch, if you had Tidal, you could watch Lemonade without
Mhm.
buying it.
I think HBO had a version of Lemonade too. I think. No, I'm not
Yeah, but
mistaken.
it's still edited.
Right, exactly. Facts.
No, okay.
See, that uncut exclusivity, it's what the movies did with bonus disc and Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, you can buy a digital movie, but you're not getting the bonuses that you get on Blu-ray.
Right.
It's the same thing. I'm for sale everywhere, but if you're gonna come and meet me here, you're gonna have an advantage.
Zaccheus has something to add.
Yeah, I have a
Okay.
question now. The title, does that work very well for independent artists?
Yeah, we're on Tidal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See?
all of us.
We're on Tidal.
We're on title. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mhm.
exactly. All of our music is on Tidal,
Which is a good
Yep.
thing.
which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing. Yeah.
So it's just another platform. I look at Tidal as another platform,
Mm-hmm.
and when you're independent, you want to be everywhere as possible as far as access.
Especially if you're independent.
Yeah. So I have to kind of bring us back on topic. We kind of veered off. So
Yeah.
I want to get back to the
Content.
to the things that I said
Yeah.
leaving off last episode. Remember I was talking about cultural appropriation in hip hop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was talking about, okay, let me get right into that right now. This is what I mean. This is no disrespect to Eminem, Macklemore, or even Vanilla Ice. But
Remember.
one of the things that I noticed with the music industry is that hip hop and any black artist, they want that artist, but then when they get somebody who's white, who's able to have that same presence, now it's like, you know what? Let's go ahead and give this guy some more attention. And not only will they do that, but they will also herald him as now being the best or the number one. I'm going to just say this straight up. Eminem is definitely up there. Do I think he's the number one rapper? Heck no. Me personally,
There's a lot of people.
a lot of people would put, and it doesn't, white and black. I'm not saying only white people do this, but a lot of people would put M over everybody. I am going to put Nas over Eminem. For me, when it comes to substance, when it comes to education, when it comes to just raw lyricism and content, I'm putting Nas over Eminem any day.
Mm-hmm.
So now, remember we talked about, we off air and our personal conversations have talked about how a lot of these record labels will use these artists who are non-black. But then when a social issue comes up, where are those artists? David Banner said in the BT Cypher, he says, if I was broke, I'd be proud to sell dope in your old folks' house. He said, no matter how that sounds, but where the white rappers at when they mowed Mike Brown down, nowhere to be found. Now, I kind of messed up maybe a little bit there.
Yeah, but we get the gist.
But we get the gist of it.
Yeah.
See, the whole thing is, if you're a signed artist and you didn't come from the culture, you don't know about those things. Those things won't,
That's true.
You'll see MC Certain them up there first. And they're not even rapping no more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's true.
You'll see Beastie Boys, whoever's active, up there talking about it first. Because they were part of the culture. If you're just a signed artist, if you're a signed artist who's rapping and you do the thing, Macklemore made a shot that hip hop got mad at him because of what he said at the Grammys that year. And we're not going to get into the subject, but you know what I'm talking about.
I will briefly, for the audience's sake, he talked about Trayvon Martin.
Ooh.
So I will give him the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Because I'm not going to just say.
But we're talking in general.
Right. We're saying
we're not calling. Yeah.
Yeah. We're saying in general.
Yeah.
But I do want to at least give him. I at least want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he did mention Trayvon. He at least did that.
He acknowledged.
He at least acknowledged that.
Yes.
And let's just put it like this: the dominant society punished him because you don't see Macklemore right now.
I haven't heard from him in a while.
And they did that to send a message to him and the Justin Timberlakes and the Eminems and the Justin Biebers.
Yeah.
Who decided to do that. We'll never hear Justin Bieber advocate on their behalf. I mean, hey, the man got video footage making racist jokes.
Yeah.
Look, I just have to say that real quick.
Yeah.
So I don't expect him to say anything.
Yeah.
But it just go ahead, Cinema.
It just goes to show you, if you're a signed artist, and your label doesn't want you to say nothing,
they'll make sure of it. Yeah,
this goes back. Yeah,
and that, and this is part of the appropriation because basically, this is what they did with R&B back in the days.
Speak on it.
If somebody was charting and hit the main chart in an R&B group, they would get a Caucasian group and put them on doing your song to knock you off the charts.
Yes.
Beautiful segue because I did want to get into how they did it in other genres before hip hop was created. Yes,
they did that. Yes, and remember back then they used to put the front. They never wanted us on the front covers too. You know, they never gave us credit for that.
That's why
you're going way back.
Yeah.
See, the albums had a flower or something. It didn't have the group unless it was sold. It was sold in the neighborhoods. But they do that now. They do that with magazines. Okay. This is going to appeal to that. It's the same issue inside, but I'm not going to put you on the front if I'm selling it in this area. In this area, I don't want you to see what the group is because it's not going to sell there. Like, exactly. And so, you know, you see it in the 5 Heartbeats and all that, which, you know, the 5 Heartbeats is the Dells story.
The Dells, yeah.
But it's fictionized. You know, they made it the 5 Horsemen, which was a joke, and then the other guy who they joined, who sold out with the 5 Horsemen. Basically, they would give their songs. The writers still made the money, but they knocked the black group off the charts, and that was the purpose of it. And so they didn't want to go with Big Red, but you saw when they went around to all the labels, which they ended, you know, they just wanted to take their material, so they had to go to Big Red. My office hours are from 9 to 5.
Right.
And that's, you know, that's why I say for people being independent and building this independent, you know, thing, because they come to knock independent artists down every so often when it gets to, you know, it's important to have a framework and it's important to have an underground because it keeps music honest.
Yes, it does.
So when you have that, you have this. Now in hip hop, you can't do somebody else's song, but you can get an Iggy Azalea to come make a fancy and knock everybody off the charts.
Yeah, they try to use it to compete with Nicki Minaj.
And that's why Nicki Minaj said Nicki Minaj writes what Nicki Minaj spits.
Yeah. Well, that's debatable because Remy Ma said something else, but Zaccheus, go ahead.
No, but
yeah, man. Yeah, man. It all goes back to the system, man. How it's run, man, and it goes back to you know, like a lot of people, they sell their souls and they do, you know, it all goes back to that systematic, the way how things are run, you know. Who they want to put up front, who they don't want to put up front. If you say something that's not, you say that things are not just justice, like you bring up a case like Philando Castile, or you say in your songs, or you stand for justice, and you say there's injustice going on. All of a sudden now you're shut down, your records are pulled from you, and so forth. And now, and even if you say the word Jesus now, you know, it's like, okay, let's pull the you ain't getting that much airplay at all. So it goes back to how the system is run, man. And like what Katy Perry said, a lot of people said they sold, So yeah.
She would know.
Yeah, she would definitely know. And I think people know the tone of my voice, what I mean by that. So, but I would say
that's another example of appropriation.
Yeah.
Where did she get Dark Horse from? We know because we listen to Christian rap.
Yeah. Flame featuring Lecrae.
Yeah. Flame. She took a song, Flame featuring Lecrae. We don't know because they quietly, did that lawsuit. But you know what that means.
The music video was cultural appropriation because she was like what? She was like supposed to be Nefertiti. She was in Egypt. Have you ever seen the? Okay,
yeah, I have.
Right, for those who've seen the Dark Horse video, it was like watching freaking.
Remember the time?
What's that? Yeah, remember the time. But
MJ?
Right, but a whitewash version.
But with her twist. It was like watching what's that? The Ten Commandments.
Charlton Heston.
Wow.
It was like watching
1959. That's going way back.
It was like watching that movie that came out that flopped, that Gods of Egypt movie. Oh, yeah. Which I'm glad it flopped. So basically you have that, like for instance, in the Dreamgirls movie, James Early, who was supposed to be James Brown, he had a song called I Got Me a Cadillac. And it was fast, and then you seen some Tony what's some barbershop quartet version of it.
Yeah. Got me a Cadillac.
It was like I got me a I said I got me a Cadillac. I'm like, wait a minute. They done took the soul out of it. But that's basically what they did. Look, if they could do it back then with jazz and any other genre, they've done it and continue to do it with hip hop. I mean, I was laughing one day. They had Dolly Parton on somewhere spitting. I was like, wait a minute. Dolly Parton was on. I think she was on Queen Latifah's show rapping. I can't you
No
not.
way.
Dolly Parton was spitting bars.
No way. Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying?
Work it 9 to 5.
Yo, you know what's funny? For those who've seen High School High, remember that scene?
Yes.
Like a rhinestone cowboy. Rhinestone. Rhinestone cow.
Yeah.
Rhinestone cow. That's basically what we're getting.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Man,
And I find it interesting, but I would say, we were talking about the freedom. Prince, here's my thing. What good is a music career if you don't have the freedom to do what you want musically and creatively? You might as well never be signed because the things that Prince had to go through.
Well, you know what it is? And I'm going to just say it, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people, artists, I'm not going to call no names, but a lot of artists is into getting paid.
Look,
and that's what it is.
There's nothing wrong with getting paid.
It is what it is, man. I mean, they don't even concentrate on the art. They have some true artists that do concentrate on the art, but they want to get that money, man, and they didn't get paid.
We could take that back to appropriation. Mm-hmm. They're getting paid, and they're not even producing what they're doing. Somebody's doing it in the background. I ghosted. We ghosted. We've all, and sometimes it's something we had ghosted. We ghosted. I ghosted for other people.
Yeah.
That wasn't them. Mm-hmm. They were there to get that money, and other people are doing that work. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of people are fraudulent. They're frauds. Fraudulent. They're not what they're presenting to be. You could see that.
Yeah.
A lot of singers who don't write anymore, you can see that they're not communicating with the emotion and depth. There's singers who can sing anything and do communication, but with how it is now, it's getting less and less. And so anything that's authentic, I tell you, some of these rappers, I'll feel a Dave Matthews song first because there's something behind it, because it's from them, you know? And so these rappers, you could tell when it's from them, and you could tell when they're generic. But the whole thing is generic, since a lot of our society is generic, that's the music they want.
That's where the compromise comes in. Because remember I said I want to talk about why people do compromise.
Yeah.
A lot of artists will justify them compromising because they say they come from nothing. Okay, so fine, you want to make rap a business for you. But don't get mad when we don't consider you authentic. That's all I'm saying. Hip-hop not only is not just the sound of the music, but it's also the art. I think some people forget that hip-hop is an art. Music is an art. Hip-hop is music, so hip-hop is going to be an art.
It's an art.
Lyricism is an art. Poetry, people don't understand. And I think people forget that. So my thing is, don't get upset when you're not considered part of that. Zaccheus, you got something to say?
Yeah, that is true. And I've been watching, and I've been
You made a point real quick to help your point. You said in one of our shows you said in one of our old episodes, you said that somebody was quoted that if this is what you're going to do, then why don't we just create another genre for you or a subgenre? Exactly.
This is going back to mumble rap, because I've seen YouTube footages where like a today artist will say, I'm not freestyling over a beat. We don't do freestyling. We're artists. That's what we are. We don't do no freestyling. So good. There was I don't know, you know what? And there was I'm not gonna call a name, but there was a artist from the Golden Era that said, you know what? You should create your own genre.
Exactly.
You should create your own genre. You should not be in the genre where this is hip hop.
I know who you're talking about. Hip hop is rhymes. I'll name him Pete Rock.
Yeah, Pete Rock said that. Yeah, create your own drama. Create your own genre. Yeah, create your own genre, because hip hop is all about freestyling. It's freestyling. It's lyricism and everything. You know, it's lyricism, style. That's what it is. So if you're gonna mumble rap or whatever you call it, make that your own genre. Do not call it hip hop.
Right.
You know Yep.
And that's the thing. And since KRS-One said he really didn't do that hip hop to make it a religion. He just made it so there's standards. So when he's gone, there's guidelines, and it's separated from every other kind of music like it should be. And that, you know, if you know, DJing, breaking, freestyling, all that stuff is part of hip hop culture. It's always been, even back when they were harmonizing. That's all part of it. You just come up with something. It's the creativity. It's the creative flow. And so the natural progression is when we hit the 90s, none of that violated it. Even though it was a different sound, it was still authentic because the building blocks and the core things of hip hop were still involved in it.
Okay. So we're going to have to wrap up the show.
Yep.
We got enough in. We're going to move on to a different topic next episode. I think we've tackled this enough.
Yeah.
Anything that we missed in this episode, trust me, you'll hear it this season because we have a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to let Cinema have the floor first. Any last things that you like, your final thought, anything you would like to say?
The final thought is I've never been against creativity. My final thought, if that's your sound, but if you know, there's a difference between people coming up in coming up, chilling out, having a sound, becoming a group. Then, you know, even on TV, they're putting together boy bands now all the time. You know, that's industry. If it's put together and it's not authentic, you know, it shouldn't represent that culture, hip hop, boy band, whatever. If you're just gonna be like a tool for the industry, you're gonna get, you know, shots are gonna be fired at you, and it is what it is. It's hard enough being independent. You get shots fired at you even when you're in the culture. So if they don't think you're a part of the culture, they're coming. So, it, I can't gonna tell nobody what to do or what not to do. I can't. It's your life. But it's like, if you don't like my opinion, and I've been doing this my whole life, and I have, it's, you go. Oh, my. Okay. I've been doing it my whole life, and we have. People are going to have opinions. Kane's going to have opinions. Pete Rock has opinions. Everybody has opinions because they're invested in this. They're still doing this. Hip hop's something I do with or without a contract. Indeed, if I have to do it by myself, I'm going to be doing it. What happens with a lot of these guys, 5 or 10 years, they're not going to be in it. They're not going to want to do it no more.
Yeah.
They're going to be gone, but the damage you cause is still going to be there. And that's the point of what a lot of these people are saying. And if you're going to make your money quick, that's fine. But, at the end of the day, you're going to go down with your generation. But with the greats, we had a lot of people who sold out during our era. We don't even talk about them. A lot of these one-hit wonders,
Yeah.
And those things that came through for a while that we didn't like, we didn't even mention them because they weren't even worth mentioning. There's a lot of artists. I could go. The Source used to going on them all the time. But it's going to be like that. If you're just doing something to have commercial success in the culture, that's not going to do it. In the Billboard Top 100, yeah, you're going to be historical. You got your awards, whatever. But in the culture, you're going to be forgotten.
Yeah.
It's, take the money and run or be something of substance. Because it's hard to be something of substance. It's hard. And like even KRS said that, I walk a road. I don't want them to walk the road, but I choose to walk the road. And don't get mad at me for walking the road. And that's a paraphrase. And that's how I feel. If you're going to be for sale to the highest bidder, when they take all your rights when you sign that contract, that's what you're stuck with. And that's all I got to say about that.
Zaccheus, go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of people sign contracts and they sign, but they don't understand that once you sign your contract, once you sign a contract, sometimes you sign your soul too. So when you started off as an MC, but and a lot of people just fall out of the game because there's no money in it. You fall to the wayside and you say, okay, I'm not gonna do that. But you'll sign a contract quick because that's a lot of people want the fame, a lot of people want the popularity. It comes to the territory that in order for you to get on top and reach to the top, you're gonna have to do certain things you don't want to do. You're gonna have to sell your soul. You're gonna have to do certain things that you never done before. And a lot of artists has done that. They got artists they have artists that's men, black male artists, hip hop, at a certain time they're wearing skirts, feminizing the look of hip hop, changing the whole dynamics of it. The content, what they use, is no longer a message. It's more of a demonic or sexual driven thing that they were saying. Their music is no longer a thing that they take pride in saying, but as you can hear in some of the lyrics, I rain on me, I sold my soul to the devil. Certain songs you even hear it in some of the lyrics that some of these artists are saying. You hear it. They express it, they say it, but you just gotta listen carefully. That's what they express. That's what they're saying. Before Michael Jackson died, he said a lot of stuff before he died. Before he passed, he said a lot of things, and he said one thing this business does is takes everything out of you. That's whatever positive you had in you, it takes a lot out of you. So it's and I have to say big up to KRS-One because and a lot of artists that say I'm gonna stand my ground. You're gonna catch me wearing a skirt. Oh no, you're not gonna catch me saying what they want me to say, because this is me. I'm not selling my soul. This is it. And okay, they don't get play, but they didn't but they kept to who they are, the truth, and they kept to the essence of what hip hop is. And that's why they call legends. That's why they call that time golden era hip hop. There's a reason why they call it that. It's not just a fancy name. There's a reason why they call it that. There's a reason why. And some of the hip hop artists of today that still tiring on today, they know what I'm talking about. So that's my message today.
My final thought is this. What happened to hip hop is this, and I can give a good analogy as far as where we're at with hip hop. Hip hop is basically a house that was built from the ground up. But then that house became too expensive to obtain. So then we took that house and we let a bank buy it. The bank said, you can live in this house as long as you pay the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
What happened is the bank decided that the neighborhood was changing, so then we're going to have to increase it. We're going to have to increase your mortgage. And then the complaint was, I built this house. Well, they'll say, no, you may have built it, but when you sold it, we bought it. Well, we're gonna let you still live here. We're not gonna kick you out. You gotta pay this. So then what happened is it ended up being too expensive. So then what ended up happening is that you had to file for foreclosure. So then somebody else comes and buy the house. You gotta leave that house now. It's not yours no more. Somebody else comes and buys the house. They do a little work there and there. Then they decide, you know what? We're just going to renovate the whole thing. Started doing a little construction. First floor, second floor, whatever. Changed everything. Changed the color. Windows. Now when you go by that house, you don't recognize it no more.
Wow.
That's what hip-hop is right now today.
Wow. I like
Straight
that.
up.
You don't even recognize it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. That's really facts. Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
But that's our fault. Because we should have never let anybody who doesn't even care about the music, the culture that has come out of it, we let somebody just come in and just do whatever they want. And now, instead of us being in the house of hip hop, we're outside of it. We walk past it every day. The sad thing is, a house that we used to own, we now go to that house and ask the people who own the house, you know, we used to live here. Childhood memories, you know, can we just take a look? They tell you some other time. You come back next week, you know, remember me from last week? I wanted to come. Oh, some other time. Now when you ring the doorbell, they don't even open the door no more. That's what happened to hip hop. But here's the good thing about it, though. They may have the house, but what they don't have is the soul of hip hop. That lives on. I say we go back to what we did back in 1979 or 72, whatever year that we could pinpoint hip hop's actual creation. And what we do is that we start a new house. The good thing about our people is that you may be able to destroy a people, but you won't be able to destroy their soul. We're not giving up on hip hop, and you shouldn't either. And that's my final thought. Cinemascapes, where can they reach you?
They can reach me at Cinemascapes, Cinema and SCAPES on IG, MySpace, not MySpace. Jeez, we were talking about MySpace. IG, Facebook, Twitter. And I'm saying MySpace because we talked about MySpace.
Right. Zaccheus, where can they reach you?
You can reach me on Zaccheus. You can reach me on Zaccheus on Instagram. Zaccheus, ZACCHEUSB73. Also, Wayne Backus on Twitter. You can reach me on Twitter, Wayne Backus2, at Wayne Backus2 on Twitter. Also on Facebook, you reach me at Wayne Backus, WAYNEBACCHUS.
You can reach me, the Fifth General, at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Fifth General. THE5TH General. That's where you can reach me. We're gonna get up out of here. Enjoy us. Enjoy this episode. You'll hear from us next week. We're gonna have an exciting topic. Still gotta think about it, but we're gonna have something for you.
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
This is the Fifth General,
Zaccheus,
and Cinemascapes
signing off.
Peace.
See you next time. Peace.
See you next time. Peace.